All right, this is my second video on 2d6 Dungeon, and I'm doing this video because my feelings about the game and my experience of the game has evolved since I did the first video, and I thought that there might be some interest in that among my viewers. You may recall, I will put the link to the initial video that I made where I discussed this this first level here in my first game, and actually I think I showed some of the development of the level here there was an apothecary and a chest, and I kind of barely escaped death initially in the third room because I got lucky in finding a potion of healing. And I talked a little bit, I'm not going to go over obviously what I talked about in that video, but I did talk about the kind of perilous nature of the game, and it would have been over super early if I didn't just luck into the potion of healing. And then later on I had the potential for doing some type of quest with a prisoner, but then when it all played out, the person was dead, so I don't think I got to do that. And I ended the video by saying, well, now I'm going to go off and spend my money. And that was the end of that video. The video here that I want to do is focus on what happens actually when you get to spend your money and what happens when you go up to the market, because I'm not sure that I obviously didn't cover it, and I hadn't even done it when I made that video. And this is going to be just walking you through how I went back to the game. I found after I played this level, I started a second level, and I found myself sort of becoming less engaged with the material there for whatever reason. And I wasn't really sure why. I kind of put it down to the kind of fatigue about the combat and the modifiers and just turning the dice. And this, I sort of focused on something that still does bother me a little bit about the game, which is this concept that you're locked into one particular weapon and that's what you get, because I think that really discourages any type of narrative and really focuses just on the dice set that you get. So this is my character sheet now after one level of my new game. So this is my new game and my completed level here, and I'll just say a few things about it. Well, first of all, obviously I'm doing it in a different format because this just felt too large, and I will say a few things that those of you who are experienced players will notice. First of all, I made a little mistake here. I put in my level 1. I never really explored this area, which is the third area exit from the entrance level. And I also did not opt to go up to the market during this level. There's a sense of kind of push your luck element almost in deciding whether or not to go up to the market area, to the town to kind of heal and then continue on, or to go down immediately to the next level. So what I'm doing here is I've really completed the level, but I'm going to be going up to the market as if I found that secret entrance and then coming back down and then going back to level 2. Not a ton really happened here, but what did happen was it's almost proof of the concept of the game, which is that I rolled up, an essentially completely different dungeon and completely different experience. The feeling was the same. It's definitely the same kind of dungeon. Here I got a lot of thematic, like there was an old mess hall in the barracks, they're sleeping there, and there's a jailer, there was a penitentiary there. There's some just general scuffed up space and an abandoned post here. So it gave the flavor and the feeling of being just the kind of remnants of something. There was a shrine area here, and there was also an abandoned sort of shrine area where I was not able to make an offering. And it ended very nicely and kind of appropriately with this snake pit that I had to kind of get around. There was some storage and a canteen, a sleeping area. It gave the sense that this was a place where people had been living and maybe were here no more. The very first room I went into was just like this dump. There was just a bunch of stuff there. So it kind of gave this feeling of an isolated place where maybe people have moved on to more exciting levels of the dungeon than this one, and it was like largely abandoned. In this particular case, I didn't even give my character a name. I had done that before in the other video, but again, my feeling about this game is it's a very generic kind of adventurer, and it's really just about the stuff that you get. So I don't have a sense of really who my character is, and I'm not sure that bothers me so much. I think it's just, I accept that as part of what the game is. Whereas my other character carried a mace, I carried a great axe here. And again, I repeat what I said earlier, which is that in terms of the weapon, it's really just about the dice set that you're looking for, because it doesn't matter whether you're doing something ranged or not. In terms of your primary weapon, it's just the die number. I did pick up a throwing axe here, or a throwing something or other. Yes, a throwing axe here that I found along the way with a +3 damage. So that's great. So I have that now that I can use, but that was just because I happened to find it, not because there's something in the rules that specifically differentiate between the melee and the ranged combat. But I ended up getting to level 2 during the course of that adventure, and I don't have my character sheet to compare, unfortunately, how I ended the first dungeon I started and this one, because I continued on to play. So my character sheet for that one sort of went midway through level 2 before I stopped. I suppose it's maybe visible in the video that I made to sort of see and compare. I feel like my experience, I have 182 experience points here. I think I was a little farther along toward 500 with that one, but I'm pretty sure I have more money here. I have 77 gold coins, 7 silver coins, and 6 copper coins, as well as some chains and things with some values that I could try to sell for money if I wanted to do that. So in this video, what we're going to do is just going to take a look at some of what the options and choices are for doing things, between levels, or if you go up to the market area in the middle of a level to see. I have some Malaco leaves and Ilias petals and Dancoma stems that I think I can combine some of them to make something or other. I think I can make some kind of healing thing if I want to do that. And then I ended up with a few big items like this whip and a snapped off sword blade. I don't have the capacity to really fix that and make anything of it yet, but I can continue to carry it around, or I can put it somewhere and leave it somewhere if I don't want to carry it. I didn't really have a lot of large and heavy items, so I still have some space for that. I have some small things like a ball of twine. I got some cords for binding books. There was a little bit of a theme of maybe a Scrivener or writing theme, because I found a book that had scrawled writing that I can't read, and there was a quill as well. So there was certain kind of writing themed things, but I don't really have enough doesn't create any sense of a story for me. And in fact, here, as opposed to in the first video, I'm not even attempting to kind of write a story or make narrative moments. I haven't yet figured out how I feel or how I'm going to do that. Part of me thought I would just take some random prompts, random generators, and apply them to the dungeon itself as opposed to my character, because in a sense the character of this game is the dungeon. It's not your adventurer who is just really a generic nobody who's carrying, a bunch of basically a dice set. I mean, that's what it is. The character comes from all of the tables here that are building the dungeon together. So I thought one possibility would be to take a look at the level I rolled up and try to create a story somehow out of that. So with this all said, let's take a look at some of the possibilities of things I could buy with my 77 gold. So we've got some magic items here, and they range in cost. Looks like the most expensive is about 150 gold. I've got to look a little more modestly than that. These explosive marbles, small glass balls that explode when rolled into a room, doing 2d6 plus 3 damage. That's pretty good, but there's only one charge, but they're only 15 gold. I kind of like that, and they're small, so that's not going to take up a big spot. There's the most expensive thing here is like a 400 gold gauntlets of power, +1 shift, cannot be combined with gauntlets or long gauntlets. It's permanent. Wow. Well, that's 400 gold. I'm definitely not going to be, at least right now, saving up for something like that. I think I'm going to spend a lot or more, most of my gold. Now, I like these concepts of these permanent things. So we have some rings here. There's going to give +1 to discipline, and it will affect a certain type of magic when you cast it. So I do have, this explains to me, I can see now why the orbit of the magic, which I wasn't sure where that came in. So I did pick up one scroll. So you start with your scroll of balance. I still have that. And then I picked up this scroll of invisibility. It's the metamorph orbit, and it will allow me to avoid an entire combat and the room contents. I feel like this could be important if I was in a situation of low health. I've got 28 HP now, but as we know, this game can be pretty deadly. So that might be something worth purchasing, that ring to sort of give me more of a likelihood of successfully casting that scroll. So but that's going to cost me 40 gold. That's more than half my gold. So I would need to get the ring of transformation to get that. That's a decision that I would need to think about. We've got a Staff of Claws, cast at the beginning of combat, causes the enemy to miss their first turn. It has D6 plus 3 charges. So that's pretty good. I mean, a minimum of 4 charges, but could be a maximum of 9 for 32 gold. I kind of like that. When I buy things, I want them to be either permanent, or I want them to have more than one use. I want to get my money's worth here. So we got some magic potions. Now, the thing is, I have 5 potions now, so I don't have room for more potions at the moment. I could dump one. So I've got a potion of finesse, resist magic, speed, healing, which I need to keep. I can't drink that now because this potion of healing, some of them will allow you to exceed your maximum health, but this one I'm pretty sure does not. So I can't drink it now to get rid of it. This phasing, this is going to allow me to ignore the locked status of one door. I would be tempted to dump that. I'm not super concerned about locked doors, so maybe I would dump one of those to get a potion, but the question is which one. +2 to treasure rolls in one room, that costs 10 gold. This one, though, the extra healing, I mean, to me, heal up to 30 health points for 28 gold. That's super valuable to me. I had found one of those in my room and in my first level, and that was really great because it brought me above. That does let you go over your maximum. That, to me, 28 gold is a lot, but that seems like a huge benefit. +2 shift for an entire combat. Well, that's what I already have. So I think, yeah, and this is, well, this heal up to 10, that's only 18 gold, but then I would have 2 of them. So that would give me 10 extra gold to spend. I guess it sort of boils down to how much I'm interested maybe in that ring. And let's see, we have some other, well, there's obviously a lot of other things here. We're not going to go through all of them. These are just what is catching my eye. This resist magic, which I have to ignore a successful enemy maneuver against you that is magic based. I could get another one of those. Speed Blast, 2 free attacks at the start of 1 combat. That's only 13 gold. I do like that because I haven't had too many situations where I'm outnumbered, but if you were outnumbered, that could be super helpful. And then, of course, there's magic, a lot more magic scrolls. And these, I do have a couple of scrolls already. So I have 1 spot left for scrolls. I'm not going to get rid of what I have, but I do have the 1 slot left. So I could potentially look at some scrolls for purchase. There are some that are pretty affordable. Like, let's assume I'm going to get that healing for 30, whatever I said, 38. So I basically have about 39 gold left. I could get something like this, getting a benefit plus 2 damage for 1 combat on brute force, or I could get something like a steady hand where I get a plus 1 precision for the entire dungeon level. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. But of course I have to, and that has no dispel dice, so I have to be sure that I can cast it or else it's kind of a waste. But I do kind of like that. Again, like something that is going to be useful the entire time. I won't have to think about or keep track of, do I still have this benefit? This would be for the entire dungeon level. The precision is useful to me, I think, and so I do kind of like that one. That's 13 gold. So I'm thinking those are some things that I may, that's possibly what I might do, is dump a potion, get the extra healing potion, and, oh, it's 28, not 38. Get the extra healing potion and get that magic scroll. And then I want to think about what else you can do in terms of using the herbs and such that I have. So let me refresh my memory on that. So under the Herbal Remedies table, I can take crushed Elios petals and Malacca leaves, apply to that wound. It's going to heal 10 HP. It can be used once per room. That's a healing bomb. I can make that. So I think I would make that because I have those items, and that can be used once per room. I guess I only have 1 set of those. I guess that just means I can make 1. Well, I'm only going to be able to make 1, but that can heal up to 10 HP. So that's pretty good. Now, the only question is, yeah, I think I can do that. And then I'm left with 1 herbs. If I use that up, the herbs, I've got the leaves and the petals, and then I have those Dancoma stems. So I'm going to use the leaves and the petals here to make the healing bomb, and then there's nothing else I can do with those Dancoma stems because I only have the 1 aspect of them. So I can't also use them with the petals to, for example, create the drying powder. Now, I could opt to make a drying powder, I suppose. I haven't had a situation yet where I've had that soaked happen, but I feel like that's less worrisome because I do have time to figure out how to get to a heated place. I also have a flint that I'm carrying. I think I could make a fire. So I feel like I would have options for, if I was soaked, to dry out before I started getting the -1 HP for pneumonia. So I think it's probably less important to make the drying powder than it is the healing bomb. Now, with the concept of the healing bomb, maybe it's less important to also get the healing, the big healing potion that I was thinking of getting. Maybe I could modify that. So I think I will think about all of these things. Unfortunately, I used up my ration, of course, at the end of the level. I had to eat my ration. I don't have 3 things to make a new ration. I am carrying some in a pouch. I've got these uncooked animal remains, and I'm not really sure. I mean, part of me wonders if they're going to start to rot and if I should like try to make a fire and cook them, with inventive usage, I think to do that. But that in and of itself is not going to become a ration. I know I need 3 things. I do have dried pumpkin seeds, and I maybe could cook the animal remains in the beginning of the next level with the dried pumpkin seeds, but then I need one more thing to make myself another ration. So I kind of have to pay attention to that a little bit as a task in the future. And I meant to, I think, cook those up in the level, but now I'm just remembering I did not do that. So I don't know, I suppose I could say they're going to rot in, D6, rooms or whatever if I don't pause to cook them up, but that would be up to me to decide. So those are some of the things that I can do. I can also, I realize I did not, before thinking about purchasing and all of that, all of the money stuff that we did, there is this mechanic here for figuring out how you will be received by the market and whether you're going to be having to pay full price or having bad luck. And I think that is something I should be figuring out now and showing you what is what with me in the market. So the market bartering table. So let's just take a look at these actual rules. So all right, the actual rules. You can leave the dungeon at any time and on any level. Heading back is not an option for various reasons. It explains how to make a place to leave. I already talked about why and how I did not do that, but I'm saying I did that. I do not have any prisoners to liberate. To visit in town, you have the market and you can buy and sell a range of items. To sell all of your non-coin loot, first establish what you want to sell and its value. I did pick up some metal, some other armor here that I'm not going to try to sell. This is these, where are they here? These metal bracers here. I put those on. I think I can have both of these, so I'm not going to try to sell those. And I don't really have anything else that I am going to try to sell. For miscellaneous items, calculate the total based on the values items table and have it. Gems retain their full value, but armor, scrolls, potions, and magic items are only worth half the purchase price. I do have some, I don't have gems per se, but I did get these gold chains with values. Now I got 2 gold chains and a gold buckle. So I'm not sure if that counts as a, let's see, does that count as a gem or not? Gems, is that a miscellaneous item that's going, the value is going to be half of it? I guess it is because it's a gold chain. So I'm going to say that I could only get half. So that was a 16 gold. It said it was worth 16 gold, so it's only worth 8. That's 24, so that's 12, and 8 is 4. So I could sell these items, and probably, I guess I will, to give myself a little more gold to spend. And since I'm not going to do any other selling, let's see, gems retained, but armor only worth half their purchase price. Traders can be tough at times and generous at others. Now, do I need to, let's see, do I need to also roll on this? I guess I do. I guess I do, because that's the selling price. So, okay, to see how effective your barter skills are, roll 2d6 and add your adventurer level. deduct your precision, and then can deduct my precision, which is 1. All right. Well, let's just give this a roll and hope for the best. So rolling 2d6, rolling 2d6, which is going to be an 8. And then we're going to add our adventurer level, which is a 2. So we got a 10. But then we're going to deduct our precision, which is a 1. So we're at a 9. On the market bartering table, it says you did well. Okay. And stood strong on a couple of deals. You add 10% of the sell price of the loot, rounded up. Okay. So for that then, for selling all of these things here, we said this was going to be an 8. That's going to be a 12. That's a 20. And that's going to be a 4. So that would be 24. We're going to add 10% onto that. And does it say, do we get to round up? Yes. So basically we'll be adding then a 3 onto that. So we're going to get 27 gold. That's actually pretty good for these chains. I hope I did that right. If I didn't, I'm sure somebody will tell me. So we got 27 gold onto our 77 gold. And so that is going to give us 104 gold total to spend, which is actually better than I thought. So I'm going to go back, give this some thought, and then kind of come back and wrap up and let you know what I actually decided to purchase here. Okay. So I made my choices. It was a little agonizing, but we're going to take a look at what I got, and then I'm going to show you, I'm going to wind up the video by showing you a few things I didn't get that I saw, but I had to go with my choices. I did not in the end get another magic scroll. I did get this magic item though. It cost me 32 gold. I had 32 gold left, so I thought maybe I'd leave myself 1 gold or something to get a ration, but I decided I'm going to take my chances with just the 2 rations. I got this Staff of Claws. You cast it at the beginning of combat and versus the enemy, it causes the enemy to miss their first turn. It's good for d6 plus 3 times. So we're going to roll a d6 together and see, was it worth it? Was it worth it? D6 plus 3 times. Oh, yeah, all right. 8 times. Like that's pretty good. I would have been happy if I rolled even a 3. So this is gonna be 8 times to use it, and I'll need a way of keeping track of it. I ended up purchasing I did a couple things. I made with what I had, I made that healing bomb, and that actually gave me, if you make something, you get 10 experience points. So I got 10 experience points for doing that. And then I had the 1 leaves or whatever it was left, but I decided I wanted to make a drying powder to remove the soaked condition, as well as a sterilizing powder to remove the bloodied condition. So I had to buy the herbs to do that. I also had to buy 2 bottles because it specified that it requires a container. So I did that. And then I decided I was going to buy I used my silver and copper to buy empty bottles and 2 pouches. So now I have 3 empty bottles and 2 pouches. And these are all small items. I think conceptually, I'm not sure how I feel about this in terms of, I've got like all these pouches and bottles and stuff that I could have unlimited amount. I like the unlimited part, but I feel like I'd be like dragging around this huge, massive bag full of stuff. But in any event, they were not deemed large. I was thinking, well, I could buy 10 bottles and like strap them together, and I would count that as 1 large item. But be that as it may, following what I think is accurate, I've got a whole bunch of pouches and things here as the small items. I still only have the 3 large and heavy items there. This Staff of Claws, I just put it here under additional notes because I kind of ran out of space. So I did that. And the other thing that I did was I sold the potion of phasing for half of its value. And then I spent that 32, so I'm down to 0. Basically, I have 6 copper coins left. That's what I got. I sold that potion of healing, and I got this potion of gain health. This is going to give me 15 HP. It will let me exceed my baseline. So basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go into the second level, I'm going to pause, I'm going to drink that, get my health up, and get a magic potion spot open. So that seemed to me to be a good use of my money, as well as sort of it's pretty good protection. And I do have the healing bomb now that's going to give me a plus 10 HP. So I'm feeling like okay about that. Plus this staff of claws that is going to hopefully help me with the combat. And my current health again is 28 at this point. So that is what I did with my money. I ended up, after selling everything, I ended up with 104 gold to spend. As mentioned, I spent all of it, and I had a little silver and a little copper. I didn't keep anything, and I really just went to town, literally as figuratively, at the marketplace. So just to wind up here, a couple of things I was noticing as I was looking to give those of you who maybe don't have this game a sense of what other things are offered. There are some miscellaneous items here, and this is where I picked up the pouches, the bottles, and things of that nature. There's not a ton of stuff. There is also this value of gems table if I happen to have gems, which I did not. And there were, a whole bunch of other types of things I could have done, like done a flaming weapon to give myself some benefit in that. I think I was just, oh, and then there was, of course, this lightning strike here, but that cost 50 gold. I don't think I would have done that. So there's a lot, and probably a lot to be said for saving some money between levels so that 100 gold I think was pretty good, and definitely was more than I ended up with the first time I played the game. But if I had just continued on, I obviously would have more options for higher level stuff at the end of the second level, assuming I got there. So that is my second look at 2d6 Dungeon. I think, again, it is my feelings about the game have not changed drastically from the initial video, which is that the meat of it, the heart of it, what makes you want to play it again of it is in these tables, and is if you allow yourself to really think about and envision what could be going on, that is how you build the feeling into the game. It is not with your character, and it is not, I don't think, with the combat per se, which does become pretty mechanical, I think, pretty quickly, even if the maneuvers have names like the incisive heft maneuver with the great axe, or this low swish. You can do your best to envision that and envision the combat. I think the enemy cards are very good in that, you don't need the cards per se, but the way the enemies are presented, you do get a little description about it, which I think is valuable to read, and even to understand what happens with its mishap and its prime attack, to read that, just to give yourself the flavor and to help you kind of do a theater of mind with imagining yourself in the barracks or whatever, fighting this huge spider that comes out at you, as opposed to just like continuing to roll the dice and turning them over. So I think in a way this game does reward a more intentional style of play, and it does reward really thinking about and allowing your mind to imagine the places that you are creating. I did go to different sort of different style and a different way of doing the dungeon, whereas the first one I used a larger play sheet that came from something I printed out from the 2d6 Dungeon files, and it allowed me to do a little more drawing and representation in there. For this game, I started out using this grid here from my Dungeon Year Design Journal, which made everything be kind of smaller. And I think I'm sort of going to stick with this. I like the concept of, having them together like this. I could if I suppose if I wanted to draw out a larger room and really populate it sort of along the lines of just doing a dungeon drawing. I don't know that I would do that or it's necessary. I was pretty happy with this. It felt like enough rooms for the level, and as mentioned, I think I may have erroneously not also made this a room, but hey, that happens. I know I made some errors here in the original as well, where I was probably supposed to explore here and here, but you know, that's life, that's solo play. So 2d6 dungeon, I'm happy about it in my second go through, and I'm going to move on to level 2. And really, I just wanted to show you a little bit about what happens when you're not in the dungeon and how that can inform or how that can help you prep for the next level of the dungeon. So hopefully I made some good decisions with the way I spent my money, and we'll see if it holds me in good stead or not.